Welcome back to Next Generation. In today's video, we'll be doing a complete patio transformation. And let me just tell you guys, I started getting this footage of the before in March. We're now at the end of November, so don't be discouraged. Don't think I did this overnight because it did not happen that way. It has been months in the making to get this patio to where we love it. Here we go, we're gonna jump right in. I have so many tips and things that we did and ways that you can do it on a budget. So I'm first, of course, gonna start with all of the before shots so you guys can get a full visual of how it looked before we completely transformed it, and you can really see how much love and time and energy went into this. So of course you want to start with clearing out the entire area so you have a blank canvas to work with. So I'm first gonna disassemble the bench that we built. This is a DIY that's on our channel. I don't think we've ever sat on this bench. It's really just a place where the UPS man leaves our packages. So I feel like it was a wasted space, and since it's pretty large, we want to take advantage of that and put something there that we love. So whatever space you're working with, start with clearing it out. As far as design for this patio, we want it to not only look beautiful, but it all flow really nicely. As you saw before, we just had small, medium planters all over the ground. It didn't look like there was any type of design going on there before, so I want everything to look like it was intentional. It was placed there as part of the design. After I cleared everything off of the patio, I went ahead and cleaned literally from top to bottom. Cleaning alone will completely transform the space. I went and rented a pressure washer from the hardware store, which was extremely inexpensive for the day, and I just pressure washed everything. So not only is this extremely satisfying to watch, but also we have lived here for about 7 years now, and I didn't even know what the floor looked like. I thought the grout was just dark and the tile was stained, but once I pressure washed it, it literally made an entire different colored floor. So if you're on a budget, then just cleaning, pressure washing will make such a huge impact alone. So as you guys can see, the most obvious change that we made was painting our entire home, which was such an awesome process to watch. This was probably one of the only things that I can think of that we've actually had done instead of doing ourselves. But we did paint the patio floor, well, I did. So if you guys would like to see how to do that, check that video out, or any other videos that I reference in this, then it'll all be linked down below, as well as any supplies, materials, or anything I show you in this video. It will all be linked down there. Another small change that makes a huge impact is changing your lights. So we have one by our front door, we have one on the ceiling of the patio, and then we have 2 sconces outside our front gate, and we changed all of them. If you're a renter, this is something that you could do as well to kind of spruce up a space, is just change your lights. You can save the ones that were there previously and change them back whenever you move. Not only the look of it changes the space, but also the types of bulbs that you change it to. It could brighten. You can do daylight, cool, warm tone bulbs, and change the whole atmosphere of whatever space you're redoing. One of the parts that probably took the longest for me was deciding the placement on our plants, what kind of planters I wanted, and just all of that. So with this new design and this transformation, I wanted to be able to bring your eyes up so that you can see kind of more of the whole patio area instead of just looking on the floor at all of our tiny plants. So what I ended up doing was, I have a friend who does landscaping, so I had her kind of draw out what she would do. She came up with so many great ideas. I'm gonna show you guys the photos because it's pretty cool to see her drawing in our space before and then how it ended up looking after. I had her kind of give me a list of different types of plants that we should put here, and I'm obsessed with how it came out. So I got these planters that all match, but you can get different sizes so that we can have different levels of plants and layers. For the planters, I also wanted different textures and fullness from plant to plant. But one thing I did decide before choosing all of my plants is I wanted them all to be in the same color family. So I chose a green, which is the green of the bird of paradise, and that's kind of the same green that I want to use all throughout the patio. So what I mean by this is they have plants that are lime green, they have ones that are more yellow, they have dark green, all different color families. So if you see this green here, it's just like, this probably sounds so crazy, but it makes sense in my head. Then you can get all different plants, but you're just going to make sure you stick with the same color green so that everything kind of flows and looks like it matches, but it's not the exact same plant. And you do want to remember, if you are using planters, to drill holes at the bottom so that you have a way for the water to drain and your plants won't sit in water and then get root rot and die. If you're worried about dirt getting onto your patio and your freshly painted floor, then you can also buy saucers, which are just like little plates that sit underneath your planter, so any excess water would just sit in the saucer. And again, with the theme of bringing your eyes up and kind of getting those planters up off the floor, we made a DIY exterior shelf. I love how this ended up coming out. It is beautiful. I love the contrast of the wood against all of the neutral tones that we have going on our patio. And another little trick to fill any empty spaces that you may have, then you can just do hanging plants, which I love how hanging plants look, as you can see. So one last plant tip would be, if you have any windows outside and you want a little bit of privacy, you can always add a plant that kind of blocks some of the window or covers up some of the space. So we have these really low concrete planters, and I wanted to keep them because I love how they look, but I could never figure out what plants I wanted to put in them. And then they're way too heavy to lift up, and what are we gonna lift them up on that looks nice? So the best suggestion, again, from my friend who's a landscaper, told me that we should add snake plants in there. So these get pretty tall. They're going to multiply in this planter, so it'll eventually completely fill up with snake plants. Snake plants all the way, block the windows. They're beautiful. If you need to raise any planters, I did use a cinder block. Since the chair I'm hanging here will be blocking this area, I just use a cinder block because you won't see it anyway. And as far as this shelf, I used some scrap wood to, again, just raise any planters up so they're not all just sitting at the exact same level. So now that we have 4,000 plants on our patio, I added a hanging chair from a hook on top of our ceiling. I felt like it needed something to really ground the space, so I chose this beautiful hanging chair. I absolutely love how it looks. The colors of it just goes perfectly with our patios, and now it gives me somewhere to sit while I'm watering all of these plants and I get tired halfway through. Something I love to decorate the exterior with are lanterns. So we've had these 3 lanterns for years, probably for 4 years or longer, and they've held up perfectly and they've been outside since we bought them. So I love them, and if you're gonna hang out in that space, again, and you put little twinkle lights, you can light your candles and your lantern. It just sets the whole mood for this space. For Halloween, we had black light candles in there that you just can click with the remote and change the colors. So many different options you can do with lanterns. You can also fill them with fairy lights inside and not even use candles. So let me remind you guys how this space looked before, just so you can fully appreciate the after. And this is how it looks now. Can you believe that this is even the same space? Because I can't. Just painting it made it look like we moved into a new house. So those are my tips on transforming a patio or an outdoor space that maybe you hang out in. If you guys have any suggestions, definitely leave them down below in the comments. Love hearing suggestions from you, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.